There's one simple brain hack that separates creative professionals who thrive from those who constantly feel behind and overwhelmed. Today, we're going to dive into the Future You note-taking methodology, the most powerful productivity shift that you can make today to eliminate context switching and create seamless creative flow. Let's get into it.
Taking creatives from chaos to clarity.
Welcome back to Creativity Made Easy, the podcast for creative professionals looking to scale their business with systems and processes that actually work. I'm your host, Dustin Peed, and I help creative teams move from chaos to clarity so that they can focus on what they do best, creating amazing work. Whether you're a designer, agency owner, creative director, or leading an in-house team, this show is designed to give you practical frameworks and actionable strategies that you can implement today. We're not here to talk theory. We're here to help you build systems that free your creativity and scale your impact. I want to start with this story. Picture this. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a Tuesday, and you're staring at your task in your project management system that says, finish the Johnson proposal, whatever that's supposed to mean. So you click on it, look in the description for any notes at all as to what that means, and nothing. There's no context whatsoever, no details about where you left off to even begin to finish it, right? There's no indication of what finish actually means, and so you end up spending the next 20 minutes trying to remember what you were thinking when you wrote that task. So you start digging through emails and basically doing detective work on your own brain. Does this sound familiar to you? This is the exact scenario that has played out in my life dozens of times before I discovered what I now call the Future You methodology. It came to me one day when I was thinking about the joke, right? That someone's like, that's not a today you problem. That's a future you problem, right? That's why you make poor health decisions or maybe do things that you shouldn't do because they're like, oh, that's a future me problem. And one day it hit me. Yeah, it is a future me problem, but I can set up future me for success. I realized that I was constantly setting up my future self for failure. And the way I was doing that was by assuming that I was actually going to remember the context that my present self had a crystal clear mind about, right? When you get to the point, you're like, I got to stop, I got to go, I got a game, I got somebody that came in and interrupted me, and now I got to do this other thing. You had all the context in that moment. But when you go back later to finish it or to continue another part of the project, you forget it. So the breakthrough came for me when I started treating my future self like a completely different person. Someone who needed detailed instructions, context, and clear next steps. And once I made that shift, everything changed. There's no more context switching, no more mental archaeology, no more detective work, no more starting every work session by trying to figure out what past me was thinking. Listen to this staggering statistic. Most creative professionals lose 23 minutes every time they have to figure out where they left off on a project. 23 minutes. The same 23 minutes that it takes to fully refocus after an interruption. For creatives, this includes unclear tasks. Every vague task becomes a productivity killer. I'm going to say that again. Every vague task for you or your team is a productivity killer. So your brain isn't designed for modern creative work. Our brains are evolved for immediate, context-rich activities, but we know in modern creative work, it requires jumping between multiple projects and contexts. We can't have the onboarding call with the client for a video project and then jump right into all the pre-production work and then jump right into the actual production on-set stuff and then jump right into post-production editing and then jump right into revisions. Like there's just not enough hours in the day for that, right? So there's constant context switching from, even if it's just from one day to the next. So what I'm getting at here is that without some clear documentation, each transition becomes a mental reset. And the creative professional's dilemma is documentation, right? We move fast and we assume that we're going to remember the details, but there's so much creative energy going on in our brains at all times, and we end up wasting that creative energy on administration instead of creation because we're trying to dig through our emails and trying to figure out what was this project supposed to be again, and we turn in something that was totally off topic because we didn't set future us up for success. Teams suffer when handoffs lack context, right? We don't have the same person that's doing the onboarding as the project kickoff, as the pre-production research, as the on-set production, as the post-production. Like, we typically don't have the same people doing that. And so when we're handing things off from one part of the process to the next, we're losing context everywhere. There's just context leaks all throughout. And so that's why I've been working on this framework of the future you methodology. And it connects directly with our do versus do frameworks, because when tasks lack proper context, we can't accurately estimate the time that's needed. And that throws off our entire margin calculation. So let's get into this future you principle. So you need to think like this. Think like your future self is essentially a stranger, and that stranger needs detailed instructions on where to pick up where you left off, right? You need to treat future you like a totally different person. Assume they have zero context. Assume they have no retention or memory between work sessions. Now, that doesn't mean you have to build out a full level rapport. I'll show you here in just a few minutes. And I've showed you on a most recent couple episodes ago as well, a screenshot that I've been using often. You just need like a simple 2 or 3 sentence description as to what the task is, and the simple context. And the context could be the bigger picture of the project and where this fits in, or the context could be where it's coming from, where that task is being handed off to from, and where it's going handed off to next. Where does this fit in the piece of the puzzle of this? And so you need to include decision-making context, not just outcomes. Provide the same level detail that you would give a teammate. Just, you're the teammate, but tomorrow or next week or next month or next quarter or next year, right? Sometimes we even say, man, I want to do this in our business every quarter or every year. I'm so guilty of this. My team will tell you. I'll say, I want to do this in our business every quarter, every month, every year. And unless we write down the context in that task that we put into our Asana, when that next month, quarter, or year comes up and we see a task that says like a wellness retreat, we're like, what is a wellness retreat? What am I supposed to do with that? Right. But then we're looking at the context, and we're looking at the future us context, and we go, yes, I remember we said we wanted to do this, and this is exactly what it was that we said we're going to do. So there's 3 types, or 3 bits, I would say, of information that future you is going to need every single time. It's the what, the why, and the where. The what, why, and where. So what? Clear, specific action required. This is the description of the task. What is it that I'm actually supposed to be doing right now? I don't know what finished Johnson proposal even means. Who's Johnson? What's he got going on? My mind's been in 1,000 different places since the last time we talked about the Johnson proposal. Why is really where I love to put the future you context, or what I say is future me context is what I put it in the task description. And that's the context for the decision that was made and to get to that point and the direction in which we're going. So it's kind of both sides. If you're standing in the middle of the train track, where's the train coming from and where's the train going next? And that leads us to our last part, which is where. That's the current status and the next logical steps. So where are we at right here on this deal, and what are the next logical steps to get us down the road? What you'll start to see is this compounding effect of this good documentation, or what I call the future you note-taking methodology. I call it a methodology. It's not really a framework. It's just a method, right? But each well-documented task will ultimately end up saving you 10 to 20 minutes. So if you take the extra 10 to 20 seconds as you're finishing up the time length on one task before you move on to the next thing, or before you move on to the end of your day, or whatever the case may be, take that extra 10 to 20 seconds, write down a quick description of what's going to happen next, where it's coming from, and why it's happening, and boom, you're off, and you can take your hands off of it, and you can relax, because future you is going to handle it the way they need to. It's going to reduce decision fatigue all throughout the day. Because if you imagine, if each documented task saves you 10 to 20 minutes, let's say it only saves you 10 minutes, and let's say you have 6 tasks in a day to complete. Now, if you're like me, 6 would be great. I usually have more like 12 to 13. But if you had 6 tasks a day to complete, and if it was well documented with this future you methodology, and it saved you 10 minutes each, that saves you a full hour on your day. A full hour. And it's going to create momentum moving forward instead of friction. It's going to allow you to delegate better and to collaborate better because you're going to have freedom of mind. You're going to have a little bit more, you're going to feel like you have a little bit more of that green zone that Carey Nieuwhof talks about in At Your Best. Now, we all know the productivity expert, David Allen. His book, Getting Things Done, features, that whole methodology of next actions. But the Future You methodology takes it just a little bit further by ensuring that those actions actually have full context. It's not about just knowing what the next step is. That's 100% true. You do need to know what the next step is, but you need the context for that next step and the step after that and the step after that as you go down your work back schedule and your task management system. So we're going to break down a task here just like we always talk about. We're going to start the task with the clear action verb: review, create, finalize, research, finish, continue, if it has to be broken up into multiple. Then you're going to include specific deliverables or outcomes. What is the handoff at the end here? Is this a PDF? Am I just trying to get it to this status before it moves on to the next person or the next phase of the project that I'm not going to touch right now? Define what done looks like. I use this all the time. Brene Brown talks about this in one of her books where she talks about paint done for me. I will often say in a meeting, I need you to paint done for me. I need you to close your eyes and I need you to paint a picture with your words of what done looks like here with this project, this task, this vision. When you think of what this looks like done, paint done for me. So define what done looks like for your future self. And then obviously, adding current status and the context notes, those future me notes, all of that comes together to create the perfect future you methodology. So you're sitting there, you're wrapping up a task or a project or a meeting, right? A lot of this happens in meetings, right? You want to capture the decisions that were made. Yes, the tasks that are going to have to go along with it and the reasoning for those tasks. You want to include any relevant file locations or access information. How many times have you started the project searching for 5 to 10 minutes for figuring out where is the file? In most project management softwares these days, you can attach the file to it. So one of the things we work on at Chief Creative is that we constantly say, if it's going to involve me referencing something, or I'm going to need a file to work with, why not just grab the link to that file, because it's probably in Dropbox or Google Drive or something. Throw that link right into the task so that when I sit down to do that, everything I need is there. I got the full future me context. I got to know exactly what's happening. And I have all the files right there at my fingertips. If the task is dependent or there's certain items that you're waiting on, you can notate that as well, so that when you get there, you know, yes, I needed to follow up with Bill about this before I hand it off to Julie, because that's how this thing is going to go. I remember that now. So when you got all that down, you need to do what we call the handoff test, right? And the handoff test is simple. Can someone else pick this up and make progress on it? Could you call someone else from another department who has no idea what you do or why you do it? And could they look at that and go, I think I could figure that out. I think I understand what you're saying here. That's how you know you got it good. And it needs to be concise and simple as possible so your brain doesn't have to read too much and take all that time doing that as well. The second thing is, are all necessary context clues included within that task? That's the meat. The context is the meat of the future you methodology. And then lastly, are the next steps obvious? Obvious is a big word here. I don't have to think about the next steps. It's super clear. It's obvious. Anyone would know. And are those next steps actionable? Going back to the verbs. Or is it a review, create, finalize, research, whatever it is? Is it actionable or is it just an idea? And having these things move from one part to the next will ensure success with your task and future self every single time. So here's a few ways we see this play out all the time. If it's a project level, right? At a project level, future you methodology, there's creative briefs that can include decision context. There's design iterations with notes and reasoning of why those choices were made. There's client feedback integration with different action implications. There's status updates that tell the story, not just the facts of how you got to where you got to, right? Then on team handoff protocols, there's stuff like designer to develop handoffs, account manager to creative team briefings, revision cycles with clear next steps, and client presentation prep with background information. And then maybe you're just sitting there in your creative process and you're trying to integrate this concept, this future you methodology. With concept development, you can document reasoning. Why did I choose this concept? Iteration cycles. You can use clear progression logic. How did I get there, right? Again, as much context, you get the idea, as much context as we can give, the better every single time for future you. Basecamp, which I'm not a huge fan of, but a lot of people use it. It's fine, right? Their project management system emphasizes context-rich communication. Context-rich communication. That aligns. That's what we're talking about when we talk about the future you methodology principles. Is context-rich communication. Always think about context for future you. So what can we do now? I want to give you a few things that you can start doing immediately this week to implement this future you methodology. Number one, we always talk about a task audit, right? Or a project audit, or what Pixar would call a post-mortem. Hey, we've done this thing. Let's look back on it. Let's audit the tasks that are in our current project management system. Click on them, click around a little bit. See if there's anything in the description at all. If the descriptions are blank, you got a little bit more work to do. Promise you that future you is going to thank you for it. Number two, implement the 3-part task structure where we talked about the what, which is the action, the why, which is the context, and the where, which is the current status and next steps. So enter what, why, and where. If you click on one of those and it's blank, just go, what is this, why is it, and where is it going to go? Where is it coming from? Where's it going to go? Where is it at right now? Third thing, create context templates. Now, I'm not trying to template out every single thing, but if this is a real struggle for you, then maybe a template will help, right? So you can develop a standard template for common creative tasks like revisions. If you're like me, I'm just going to be straight up honest with you. I think I posted this on my blog earlier this week and kind of walked you through how. So I won't regurgitate too much here, but I will tell you what I do for future you methodology the most is I record all my meetings. Not because I'm trying to catch somebody saying something they shouldn't be saying. I'm recording my meeting for future me, and I'm recording my meetings for future us and my team to know the context of everything, right? So what I'm doing after those meetings is we are taking the transcripts. We are running those through an AI program that we use called Claude, and we've got Claude programmed to know these are the things that we're looking for. I want you to build out the tasks that are our responsibility, the tasks that are someone else's responsibility, with timelines and with this future you context. And it always gives us the what, the why, and the where every single time. So we just take that stuff, put it right into Asana, forget about it, come back, we have the full context. Immediately we pick up where we moved on. I am still working on the future you documentation templates, but I do want to tell you that as they come available, they're going to be at dustinp.com/free. I might even put up a Google Doc there temporarily, just so that you can see, but you can go download this whole future you documentation template. You can find that at dustinp.com/free. As soon as I get it up there, I promise if it's not there when you listen to this, it'll be up there very shortly, and I'm sure I'll send an email out about it as well. So if you want to hop on our email list, go over to dustinp.com/newsletter. Hop on that email list. So just a couple of shout outs here. Getting Things Done by David Allen. Deep Work Always by Cal Newport. Our Future You note-taking methodology. I'm working on building out some templates and things like that to go along with this, but at least you'll have something documented, some kind of notes to be able to have as you start to implement this with yourself and your team. Listen, the Future You methodology isn't just a better task management hack, right? It's about respecting your creative energy and using it for what matters most. When you stop wasting mental energy on context recovery, you're going to free yourself up to focus on the creative work that only you can do. And that's why we're here. So remember, every moment spent figuring out what you meant in a vague task is a moment stolen from your creative potential, and future you deserves much better than that. And your clients deserve the focused and energized creative professional that results from implementing this methodology. So start today with just one project. Document everything like you're handing it off to a stranger, and watch how this simple shift transforms not just your productivity, but the quality of your overall creative output. I want to remind you can visit dustinpeed.com for more resources and follow me at dustinpeed on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, places like that for daily insights on creative systems and processes. Next week, we're addressing the question that I hear most often from creative professionals. I'm overwhelmed. What do I do? We're going to break down the anatomy of what overwhelm is and why traditional time management advice constantly fails us creatives. And we're going to give you a step-by-step kind of walkthrough for getting back to the clarity when everything feels like it's urgent. We're gonna stretch that out, and we're gonna strip that back a little bit. So if you're drowning in deadlines, if you're struggling to prioritize, or feeling like you're always behind, no matter how hard you work, that episode's gonna be for you. We're gonna give you the tools that you need to breathe again and take back control of your creative practice. I want to thank you so much for spending time with me today. Now go create something amazing with systems that actually work. We'll talk to you next time.